Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing on Wednesday, the 5th of November. It's bonfire night, of course, and to join me to discuss all things Rangers is Stevie Clifford. How goes it, Stevie?
All right, Derek. Hope you're well. Hope everybody is well.
Yep. You doing anything? Are you a fireworks guy, or did you go to a bonfire on tonight? This night of all nights?
Nope. I will be podcasting at 7 on Four Lads, and that's about it, mate.
Yeah.
No
Not a big fan
plans.
of having a dog, although he's not that fussed about the fireworks. But it's not my favourable night, I've got to say. But there you go. If you're out at a bonfire or whatever, then folks, please be careful and enjoy it. So there you go. Right, before we crack on, quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willows Fencing, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust, and proud partners of the Rangers Review. They've got over 20 years of experience in the game. So if you're looking for a new fence, these are the guys to call. No job is too big or too small. They offer free consultations and you get 10% off with the code Rangers Review. Over on the website, which you can see on the ticker below if you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, willows-fencing.com. Right, Stevie, we've not had you on since Sunday. Incidentally, there's Stevie's piece is on the website this morning, folks, so do go and check it out. But I know you were on with Joshua after the game at the National Stadium. What did you make of it? Of course, we've had Rangers releasing a statement in the last couple of days regarding the Austin Trusty incident. I think the refereeing again was below par, but that doesn't disguise the Rangers' feelings as well. What was your overall assessment of it, Stevie?
Well, if we can talk about Rangers first, concentrate on ourselves. I thought the first half we were awful. I thought we were a bag of nerves. And I think that started off, I talked about this in the article this morning, Nasa Giga, after about 20 seconds, had a chance to take a touch and control the ball and pass it to his side, and he booted it high and wide out the pitch. And you've seen Tav and Raskin speak to him immediately and say, settle down. But I thought that kind of panic and rushed performance was throughout. And I just don't think we ever settled down. I think the three at the back very quickly became a five. And the players just didn't adjust. And it's nothing that we don't know. It's not that the players are out sabotaging or that. They're just not good enough, Derek. And they don't have the spine, and they don't have... Quite honestly, when the going gets tough, I don't think they've got the balls to try and see through a game like that. And I just don't believe that they're strong enough mentally or physically to cope with that. And what Celtic did very well, they were just pumped up, they pressured, they pressed, and Rangers didn't get out. And what proved was that the selection up front didn't work. Asgard, Chermiti and Danilo out on the right. And I've spoken to you about this loads of times. There's absolutely no point in putting Danny out there. And I just don't think they held up the ball. They didn't get any runners. There was no pace. There was no ball carriers. So in effect, Rangers were penned in and they couldn't get out. And it was bypassing the midfield. Raskin and Diamandi couldn't get involved. And it just constantly kept coming on the back to the back line. And it was full of panic. It was full of... it was all disjointed and they couldn't pass the ball. And it was just an awful first half. Went in 1-0. It could have been worse. And then here's the Gollan thing. As much as I'm saying that, Chermiti misses an absolute goal-edge chance. And Raskin goes clean in on Schmeichel. And Chermiti also maybe has another chance at the back post. So, Derek, it's all right me saying, they were really poor. And I believe they were. And I don't think that's overcritical. They still missed key opportunities. And then in the second half, obviously by that point they have 10 men. And in the second half, they rallied through, I think, sheer kind of determination. I thought James Tavernier, when he went into midfield, was excellent, drove them on. And between the kind of 60 to 85 minute period, they bossed it and they were well on top. And without doing too much, without creating overly amount. They had 10 men, so they were giving up chances at the same time. Thought Mikey Moore was really good.
Yeah.
And then, they get the penalty, which Tav converts. And you know what? No criticism to them because they were absolutely burst. They had to try and win it within 90 minutes with 10 men. to go to extra time, it's a tough order, but then they still miss critical chances, Derek. And 10 minutes into the first half of extra time, Gassama goes clean through and he misses again. So I think it just highlights what we know, that they don't have the real quality and they don't have the leaders throughout the team. Nothing was really new. But to give them credit, when they had 10 men, they really did show a wee bit of spirit and determination to get back in it. And again, led by Tav. And we'll talk about that in a minute of where I think, or what that means and things like that, Derek. So on Rangers' performance, sadly, really disappointed in it, but unfortunately not surprised.
Yep, I think the recruitment failings were exposed again on Sunday. I think Rangers fans are sick of just falling short in these big games against Celtic, and it's all well and good saying, "Oh, can't fault the effort," but that should be a given. Given the money that's been spent and given the fact that Celtic are nowhere near the level, I think anyway, than what they've been in the past, then you should be beating Celtic in these big games for me. There's no excuse not to.
It's all right to say that.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. But in reality, Celtic might have went from there to there, but Rangers have went from there to way off the screen. And that's the problem. And we're in no position to think we can beat anyone, sadly, never mind Celtic. And what the article talks about this morning is that, and it's kind of like a follow-up to the one I did pre-Sunday's game, where a lot of people were saying or hoping we'd turned the corner. I could just never believe it because I don't believe in this squad. I think the damage that Russell Martin, Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart have done this summer is going to take us a very long time to overturn. And I don't believe in any way that Kevin Thelwell or Patrick Stewart should be remaining at the football club. And that's what the article talks about. Kevin Thelwell oversaw a 40 million spend, which has downgraded Rangers in every single position that he's bought for it. For James Tavernier, see Max Aarons. For, Cyril Dessers, see Yusuf Chermiti. And I'm not saying, Derek, and there's cases throughout the team, Robin Proper, Nasser Jiga. It's guys that were never good enough in the first place, and we could identify that they weren't good enough. In all respect to Big Cyril, who banged in goals, nobody really thought he was good enough. And we've replaced him with somebody who's a complete dud. And we've spent almost, 14 million on two trying to do it, and neither of them suit. And if you remember when we spoke about Bojan Majowski, Derek, and I said, I'm not sure this is the right move, and I'm not sure he'll suit Rangers and how we need to play. And he's came in and he looks absolutely miles off it. And it's just it's like that throughout the team. And sadly, I think for me, Derek, almost harshly, I think a few of them who I hoped might see something, I think a few of them did real damage, in my opinion, to how they look. Telog Asgard being one, I thought his application was dreadful. I thought his all-round gameplay was awful. And I'm not going to accuse him of chucking it, but decision-making is absolutely miles off. So there's no point in sugarcoating it. There's no point in me sitting here and saying, oh, yeah, I agree with you, we should be beating Celtic. The reality is miles away from that. Celtic might have went from there to there. And they were the crisis club last week, but they acted like a big club. They went out and got Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney, who are very safe. Martin O'Neill's an excellent manager, whether we like him or not, or, 20 years ago or whatever. They still have a plan of action. We fired our manager and hung about for 2 weeks, put a youth coach in charge, and then flim-flopped about who we were going to appoint until we finally stumbled upon a guy who didn't want the job and then wanted it, then didn't, and then wanted it again. We looked amateurish. Celtic looked amateurish in what they were doing and fixed it, and all of a sudden looked revitalised. Rangers hang about pretending to be a big club and stumble from one moment to the next. So we can say we should be beating Celtic, but the reality of it, Derek, unfortunately, is miles away because our football club doesn't act the way it should. And by the way, that's not nice to hear, and it's not nice to say. I get it.
No.
But I'm not going to come on and sugarcoat it for people and pretend that I sit there and try and make it better for people and say this and that. The reality of the matter is we're miles away from being good enough. Danny Rule will win some games and he will lose some games because he's dealing with a squad that's massively inept.
Yep. Bruno Sparky taking issue to what I said earlier. He says 10 men, Derek, calm down. Well, prior to that, I mean, big chances were missed, of course, but I think that the Rangers fans are just getting.
But why do we have 10 men? Why do we have
Exactly.
10 men? It's because of the decision making we make. It's because of how we have recruited. It's because we have players that are not good enough and make rash decisions and lead us to being in those positions.
Yeah.
So it's all part of the wider picture at Rangers. We've went, Derek, see in years, do you remember we all identified, we sat here and we said, Borna Barisic, brilliant servant to Rangers, has hit real heights, really good at times, but is clearly on his way down. So we replaced him with Redvan, who wasn't good enough. We replaced him with Jeffy, who wasn't good enough. We replaced him with Makoma. It's all a big downward scale.
Yep.
Right? And then you look at midfield and we identified John Lundstrom's on his way out. His legs have gone. Lundstrom was okay. It wasn't great. Not a huge fan of him. But we've replaced him again with guys that just don't work. And then you look at other positions on the field. We went from Hadji to Cantwell to Bayrami to Telo Asgard. All from Joe Aribo and Yanis Hadji. Now, every single one of us could see that Yanis Hadji was on the decline and wasn't good enough. Likewise, Joe Aribo wanted to move, but we just downgraded every single position. James Tavernier, Max Aarons. We all saw that Vaclav Cherny might be the answer, but we didn't want to invest in him, so we replaced him with Oliver Antman, who, by the way, might be decent. He's not going to be decent in Scotland for Rangers, and if he is, we don't have a year to wait for that to happen. That's the stark reality of what we're dealing with, Derek. We've went from Cyril Dessers again to Yusuf Chermiti, and Chermiti might be good, and what they're saying is he might be good and he's got potential and we've got time to wait for him. We don't have time to wait for him.
This is Rangers, yeah. I know.
We can't put up with performances in semi-finals from Yusuf Chermiti on Sunday and say it's okay, he might be good in 2 years. That's no use to us. No. £8 million on this guy, and he doesn't add what we need. And he might be, listen, see in 2 years' time or a year's time, we might look stupid, but it needs to be now, and it's not happening now. And that's why the whole recruitment structure of what we done in the summer, despite their warnings, despite what they were told by Barry, despite what they were told by Niels Coppin, despite they were told by fans, fan boards, everything gave them that direction. And they treated it like a project where they could put in players that might be good in 3-4 years' time. There was no experience, there was no strength, there was no desire, no knowledge of Scottish football put in there. So we can't be sitting here being surprised when we see what's happening, unfolding in front of us, and then go, how's it went so wrong? It's went so wrong because the whole strategy and everything they tried to do in the summer was wrong. And we cannot sit here and allow the same people to do it all over again, because the same things will happen.
Yeah, wasted the season with the managerial appointment and the recruitment seasons a write-off, which is hard to stomach. Just on Chermiti, touched on Chris spoke to Gordon Smith. Always good value is Gordon. He was speaking about the signing. He says, I was shocked by the signing. I'll be honest, and I've done scouting courses as well. One of the factors you're looking at in a striker is goals scored. I wouldn't have brought him in on a free transfer, never mind paid money for him on his stats. I just couldn't understand why they could possibly be interested in him. He might come good eventually, who knows? At that level, he was never worth it. That valuation was out of order. He's hardly played any games and his goal-scoring record did not stack up. I couldn't understand that signing whatsoever. You can read everything he had to say over on that piece on the website. Can't disagree. Speaking to Gordon about a month or so ago, he was doing a speakers night at the Wirral Rangers Supporters Club, which was a fantastic evening, and we touched on that as well. And I can't disagree with anything that he says on that one. So it is what it is. What do you do then with him, Stevie? Because you mentioned Dessers. The three strikers that are there at the moment aren't going to get anywhere near the 29 goals that Dessers scored last season. So what do you do? Well,
just to kind of a couple of things to unpack there. First of all, what do Gordon Smith and Ali McCoist have in common? They were both successful Rangers players who knew where the goal was. Even Gordon Smith from a midfield position, as a midfielder, as a number 8, where he was, played up front sometimes, but was a number 8. They both know a Rangers player, and they both know what it takes to make it Rangers. What did Ali McCoist say about him? Holy moly, guacamole. That's how he described it. And as he watched him out in Bran, he says, I don't know what they see in this young boy.
Yeah.
And I've tried to think, right, and I'm clutching because it's bare minimum stuff. At Easter Road, I thought he was okay. He kind of put himself about. He tried to hold up the ball and that. But geez, oh man, like that's me at the very, very. I'm grasping at whatever I possibly can just to try and see something. Derek, what would I do with him? Probably what I do with most of the people that arrive in the summer. In January, I'd look to offload them, and I'd look to offload all of them, basically, with the exception of Gassama. I don't think I would be upset if any of the other 10 or so went. And that's really quite brutal. And by the way, it's probably harsh on one or two, because one or two might make it, one or two. But if you're saying to me, if Championship came calling for Tello Asgard and you got £3 million, would you be upset? No, wouldn't. Would you be upset if Oliver Antman went back to Holland for £3 million? No, it wouldn't. Would Majowski be amiss if somebody paid £2.5 million for him? No, it wouldn't be. It's just brutal because of the way it is. Now, listen, this is where it is at this moment in time. You could make a few signings in January that knit things together and they begin to flourish a wee bit. I get it 100%. But if you're telling me that Max Aarons, Nasser Giga, for example, if they got sent back on the 1st of January, Stevie, would you really be unhappy? The answer is no. So that's basically where I am. But with regards to what do I do up front, I will disagree slightly. I think Danny will score goals for Rangers, and he's proven that even in the last week. But you've got to play him as a 9, and you've got to give him opportunities to score goals. If you take Danny out of that 9 position and play him elsewhere, I don't think he's up to the same standard or value, because I don't think he's got the legs, and I don't think he's got he can hold it up, and his movement as a 9 is good. That's where I want him, Derek. So whether or not he'll score 30 like Desser's done, we can never really figure it out until we start giving him the opportunities that Desser's got. Now, even in a poor Rangers team, Cyril Desser's banged in 20-odd goals, but he was missing, another 20 because we were providing them. And I'm not saying that to criticise him. I'm saying we went from those levels to creating absolutely nothing and not being able to get our 9s in the game. I would bank that if Danny was playing in the 9 on Sunday, he would have tucked away the chances that Chermiti missed. So, and we can say that with confidence, given the goal he scored against Kilmarnock and the goal he scored at Easter Road. He'd certainly look more comfortable in that position as well, in my opinion. Is he good enough overall, Derek? I think I would be looking to bring in somebody else. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's the answer. I don't think Bojan Majowski is on it at all. I don't think he's anywhere near. I don't think he's settled. I don't think he's shown. And I don't think we even use him in behind like we warned. I think
doesn't suit Rangers at the moment.
At this moment in time, 2 years' time, Chermiti might blossom into something, but at this moment in time for Rangers, he's a dud, and he's not suitable for me up front. So that's just the way I feel about it. He might have good games, he might get better, but would I trust him up front? No.
Would you try somebody like left, like maybe? I mean, Finlay Curtis has been pretty much.
Well, here's what I was about to say, and this is what really sticks in my throat a wee bit. Gassama went through twice on goal.
Yeah, and fluffy blinds. And
the person I would trust to score twice would be Finlay Curtis. I watched Finlay Curtis score for the 19s and the reserves, 60-odd goals, and albeit I didn't see every single one, I'm not saying that, but every time I saw him, he played left, right, and a 9, and he was dangerous, and he could convert chances. And he's not even had a sniff since having a pretty decent start to the season where he scored against Panathinaikos, and he also scored against Alaba and St Mirren as well, didn't he?
Yep.
And then we've not seen him. Lyle Cameron, not seen him. So I get Danny Rose just in the door, and I think he's probably getting a bit of help on who he's selected. But I would like to see Rangers, what are we losing by playing Finlay Curtis on the right-hand side is my question to you. So if you want to put Mikey Moore in there or have Gassama in there, I understand it. But what are we losing by playing Finlay Curtis there? Finlay Curtis, who has shown he can score goals and he's shown that he knows the way to go and he's got a wee bit of directness. So at a time where we're not converting chances and we're not scoring goals, it's not like he's a complete wonder kid. I get it, but what do we lose from not having underperforming players there?
Yeah, it's not any worse. So
and he's our player, and he can develop, and he knows the way to go, which even in an underperforming Russell Martin team, he still showed. So, yeah, I'm thinking towards what would I do up front? You asked that question. Gassama, Moore, Curtis would all be in my thinking, and my 9 would be Danilo. So, yeah.
Yep, that sort of sums up. There's a comment that a flag says, "What's Moore's best position?" He has been much better in recent games.
I would let him float about, because I think against Celtic, when he was in a 10 and he was running about, I think he really influenced the game for us. His through ball to Gassama, which was a kind of reverse looped kind of long ball, which Gassama got on and took too long and Scales got back, was excellent by Moore. And I think that I think Moore's kind of like a kind of like Diallo was when he came to us. But he's a bit of a free spirit. He needs to roam about. He needs game time. And I think he's actually starting to settle a wee bit and starting to show, hopefully. So that's where I would stick Moore, is allow him to float about. I do the same with Gassama, by the way. I don't think it needs to be rigid. If you're playing with that 3-4-3 formation, your 9 stays as your 9, and your 2 can play as 10s and run, because you have Makoma and your right back, who would probably be Tav, as your wing backs getting up and down. So that's really where it is.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Danny Rule does on Thursday night.
I don't think there's a lot he can do. I mean, we're going to keep Derek. Look, we're going to probably keep having these conversations until it gets changed.
Yeah.
Cornelius, I think Cornelius is decent, right? I don't think he's brilliant. I think he's decent enough.
Yeah.
I think Meghoma is a raw young lad who's probably not ready for Rangers, who will have good games and will not. I think John Souttar defends well at times, mostly for Scotland, but when it really comes to it, he's not quite good enough for Rangers and hasn't stepped up where we want him to. I think Nasajiga can play well at times, and when it comes to really high quality, high intensity nerves, I don't think he's good enough. I think Max Aarons is fine. I think he's okay. He's not Rangers good enough. And then you go into the midfield. I think Raskin and Diamandi are good players for Rangers, but they're not consistent enough and need an experienced 6 to marshal them. I think Oliver Antman will probably be a good player for somebody else. Probably would get numbers for Rangers, but it's probably not what we need on the right-hand side. I don't think Telo Asgar's ready for Rangers at this moment in time, and we don't have time for him to settle. I think Jerry Gassama's shown enough. Bojan Majovski, Chermiti not. So my point in all this is we're going to keep having these same conversations. Who does he bring in? Manny Fernandez, who for some reason we paid a hell of a lot of money for, and by all accounts can't even get on Sunday, when after 10 minutes you could tell that Nasajiga was a bag of nerves. What does that tell you? So how else does he fix it? Who else comes in? I'm not really sure. In midfield, Joe Rothwell's miles off it. He's a shadow of the player he was last year, and I kind of hoped that he would be something. I'd hope maybe he looked decent, maybe he wasn't as bad, but he's not shown anything for that justification. That's all hope. So who else do you bring in? What else do you do if you're Danny Rule?
John says, but Barnes.
Connor Barron, great.
Yeah.
So you put Connor Barron in, absolutely good point by Joe. But without that, like, what else does he do? He's shuffling the pack to see if something sticks. And this isn't on Danny Rule, and it says this in the article this morning. Danny Rule will win some games and he will lose some games because he's dealing with a squad that's completely inept and led by people that put him in this position, and he can't be the lightning rod for that. Victories against Kilmarnock and Hibs should never have distracted the Rangers support away from what's really important, which is Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart's management of this football club.
Yeah. As Johnny put it on Sunday, you can only relieve yourself with the appendage you have at this point in time. So, yeah, if you can get a tune out of this group, then happy days. It's going to be tough on Thursday. There's a few comments coming in. Hugo Bear says, in terms of formation, 10-0-0 against Roma. They're incidentally losing, they're missing a number of key players.
Dybala, Evan Ferguson and stuff. I can only hope they just can't be bothered.
Well, Angelino's
European football. So.
Yeah, and Leon Bailey is the latest one that's going to be out. He's hardly played, to be fair, but he's also going to be missing it.
Is that the boy from Aston Villa?
Yeah. He came when he was the Leverkusen team before COVID and wreaked havoc at Rangers on that night. But he's going to be missing. However, they have lost the last 2 games in the Europa, Roma. both at home against Lille and amazingly Victoria Pilsen. So there may be hope for Rangers yet. Although Pilsen, I think, are up there 5th in the table or something like that at the moment. But it's win or bust, Stevie. Jaws are no good at this point in time, given the disastrous start to the campaign. Matches that you would expect Rangers to win in years gone by. So there's no wiggle room. How do you see it going tomorrow? What do you think the atmosphere will be like? Because I can't imagine it'll be one of those famous raucous European nights. It may very well be, incidentally, but the fans are just scunnered at the moment, aren't they? So I think an early goal will certainly help matters. If Rangers can get the fans on side, then it could be the foundations of a decent result, hopefully.
I mean, I would hope so, and maybe they'll have a point to prove on Sunday, and they'll feel out. So, I mean, what do you say, Derek? I've just banned the whole squad, right? I can't very well sit here and go to you, well, I think we can beat Roma, because I don't. Right? I'm going to Dundee on Sunday thinking this is a bit of a nightmare here. What I will say, I thought the fans were terrific on Sunday, and when Rangers needed them, 55, 60 minutes, they really galvanised, and I think they both fed off each other. And in years gone by, I would be relishing Roma at home, saying that Ibrox will be bouncing and we can get into them, just like Porto nights under Steven Gerrard. But do I think we'll beat Roma? I doubt it. Do I think we can beat Roma? I doubt it. But I think we're capable at times of playing decent stuff, but I don't think we're anywhere near the levels we need to be. So they could go and make a fool of me tomorrow night and beat Roma, and nobody will be more delighted than me. And equally then, they would go to Dundee on Sunday, and would you fancy them in that game? So it's just up in the air, Derek. We're going to Rangers games these days, wondering and hoping. We're not expecting.
Yeah.
Or rather, without speaking for anybody else, that's how I feel. I'm going hoping. I'm not expecting, because I've seen so many performances of this team so far, individually and collectively, that I don't think they can. And Danny Rule, what he's done is sensible, because he's went to 3 at the back, because we don't have 2 that will cut it. So he's trying to kind of numbers in there. Yeah. He's went to 3 up front because 1 doesn't cut it. So he's kind of went and tried to jig that about. And he's done what he can, the best he can. So honestly, I think Danny Rule's a really likeable guy. Tactically and things, I'll see how he gets on. I'm not sure. I want him to do well, obviously. But I can't help but think that with this squad of players that are so massively off it, that he's on hiding to nothing no matter what. So...
Yeah, we shall see. A couple of points coming into the presser today. There is, we should be
1:15.
Yeah, 1:15. We should hear from whatever player it is put up for the press, and Danny Rule will be after that. So keep your eyes peeled for that, folks. I think Blair is heading over to the training centre for us, and we'll hear who's in, who's out, and what his thoughts are ahead of the game. Right, I think we'll wrap up there for now. Just a reminder, folks, before I forget, if you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. If you aren't a subscriber to the channel, that would be very much appreciated. Hit the notification bell. You'll never miss a video when we go live.
Derek,
yes?
See, before we go, we missed a whole important thing from Sunday, and we were going to discuss it in the officiating.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you brought
that up.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I just noticed I started this comment from Bolt Yabobag earlier. It says, Stevie, I missed the after game show. What's your thoughts on the penalty and the trusty red card? The floor is yours, Stevie.
First of all, take it in order. Cornelius' tackle, I think, is borderline. I think he lunges, which becomes really difficult as a referee to get it right. I think the only thing that he survives is because his foot is down. I think if he's a couple of bits higher, he goes off for that. See, if it's my team, I'm not saying I wouldn't be shouting for a red card in that position, so I understand it. I think they got that one right, but it's borderline for me. Could it easily have been a red? The answer is yes. Asgard, 100% red card. Austin Trusty, 100% red card. And the reason for that is that it's nothing to do with how hard it was or anything like that. Jack Butland gathers the ball, and there's actually a split second between that moment and Austin Trusty then deciding the action that he's going to do. And he then, you can almost see it's like the inner thoughts of one, I'm just going to kick him. And he does it, and he endangers a player. For me, it's a clear red card. When you look back to Celtic's last red card about 70-odd games ago, it was Yang. And I don't say that, I'm just saying that's how long ago it was. Yang was sent off at Tynecastle. And he wasn't sent off for making contact with the player. It was because of the height and the dangerous nature of how he raised his foot, and the contact was minimum and skiffed him. So I'm confused by Nick Walsh's apparent words to James Tavernier of being, it was how hard he hit. And when you go back to Diamandi getting sent off, which was the motion of what he was doing, for Nick Walsh to uphold that. So I'm confused by that. And it should have been a red card. And I'm disappointed in VAR not even asking him to go and look. As for the penalty, I think it was a penalty. And the reason why I think it was a penalty, if he had pulled his arms in and he was just falling and the arms were in, then it wouldn't have been a penalty for me. But he actually leads with his elbow, and his elbow's pointing down, and he knows fine well he's trying to block the ball. So for me, it's a penalty kick. And it strikes him below the t-shirt line. So there's nothing there. It was on target for me. You're going to force Michael into a save. It's a second caution, in my opinion, as well. It doesn't have to be a second caution, but when you lead and you try and block the ball like that, then it will become a second caution for me. So yeah, Ralston should have been off the pitch earlier. There was one out wide where he blocked off Kasama.
Yeah, that just get. I noticed that at the time. I was like,
Nick Walsh. Nick Walsh went and stopped because he realised if he gave it, he would have had to put him off. He allowed too many fouls to go unchecked all throughout the game, which later became people that had been cautioned. And if he'd done it earlier on in the game, then he could have avoided red cards and things if he had managed it better from the start. I just think Nick Walsh is proven to be somebody that I thought was actually coming through and looked quite good, has been involved in too many high-profile errors for Rangers. When it comes to 3 off the bat, Diamandi's red card, the no goal at Easter Road, which we all know, and then you go again on Sunday at the game. But you look back at Ibrox against Hearts, the mess of VAR and Stephen McLean that day. You look at Sunday; these are big moments in our season already. And I took umbrage in the meeting a couple of weeks ago with Patrick Stewart and how he was doing it, data-led, speaking behind the scenes. We don't want to be making statements. I don't think we can approach it this way in this country because I don't think it works. I think trying to make friends and do it that way doesn't work at all with a football club. I don't want them fire and brimstone all the time, but you see the statement they put out, it was a whole load of nothing. So we don't really get it right in what we are trying to do. And, it's all a bit powder puff. Rangers are moaning again, no bother. What are we doing about it? Where are we taking it to next? Because if you put your mind back to that Celtic game at Tynecastle when Yang was sent off and Celtic subsequently beat 2-0, it almost made Parliament the noise Celtic made about it. And fair play to them for that, because when they do stuff, they go higher, they go hell and fire for it. Rangers, it's all a bit of a damp squib. And that's how I feel. I thought that statement the other night was a bit... So you're unhappy about it. What are you doing?
Exactly.
And the answer is, we'll just keep feeding the data back to them and showing them how it's wrong. Where has that got us so far? So I'm not in a position here. I'm not going to start shouting about conspiracies and everything else because I don't really believe in that. And I think it makes us all look a wee bit silly. But what I will say is that Rangers were awful in that first half. Celtic had 20-odd shots. They hit the bar. You know what I mean? I think the better team won, as much as that sticks in my throat to say that. And that's because of the levels we're at. But I also think that officiating had a massive difference, because if Trusty goes off like he should, or if Ralston goes off like he should, if Cornelius goes off like he should, maybe the whole dynamic of that game changes, because the officiating on the day was awful. So, yes, Derek, important. I think that we cover it, but I think
Yeah.
Rangers also let themselves down with how they come across and what they're trying to do. We've tried this nicey, let's be your pal, let's show you the figures, we've tried it, and it's been going on for years. Steven Gerrard, you only have to remember how he reacted at Livingston and the ongoing, efforts that he had and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's boring and tiresome. The standards are through the bottom. What was it, 26 VAR reviews or mistakes last year, and Rangers were highest with 5 of them, and those 5 were all key moments. It's a penalty kick in a League Cup final that is, more out than it's in. I think the saying was at the time, we had a League Cup final a couple of years ago where there was about 800 of them offside as they all lined up to score it. It's constant big decisions going against us. And every time we react by trying to be their pals and send emails and show them how the data's wrong, it's got us nowhere, Derek. It's a bit tiresome.
Yeah, I'm sick of the statement saying that we're holding them to account. It's time for actions now. What those actions are, I'm not too sure. But like I said yesterday, I would like Rangers to flex their muscles here. And really
you're the CEO of the football club, Patrick Stewart. What are you doing about it?
Exactly.
You were very quick to throw the fans under the bus with the TIFO stuff.
Yeah.
And all the other mistakes that's been made in your tenure. What are you doing about this? I'm not interested in behind the scenes emails and where are you taking it? Where are you going next with this? If you're unhappy about it and you're unhappy with the answers, what we do next, Rangers? Because at the moment, it just looks like you're sitting accepting it and doing nothing. As a fan base, I think we're all pretty tired of that.
Yeah, and just on, you mentioned Walsh, but I said it a couple of days ago, I think, or whenever. Can't think of anybody good at this moment in time. The pool is so small for that you pick from anyway, and there's no referee, like you said when he was coming through at the time. You think, no, hopefully it looks like he's got something about him, but that hasn't turned out to be the case. But there's no one that you think, oh, like remember back in the day, Hugh Dallas was the main man. He was getting picked for World Cup games and what have you. There's no one like that anymore, is there?
Bobby Madden,
yeah,
who we thought was, he didn't always get it right, or you disagreed with some decisions, but you could trust him to control the game and stuff. The ones that are getting put through the now, fast-tracked and stuff like that. I mean, the one we've got on Sunday is a complete nightmare as well. So I just don't trust the pool of referees we've got here. I don't think they've got enough experience, grassroots, when they're fast-tracked all the way through. I just don't think it works, Derek. So see when you're down in Kilwinning and you've got no assistance and you're getting chased to your car, I don't think the referees experienced it like I did, Derek. When it's Port Glasgow under-17s versus Greenock and it's a 20-man battle royal, that's when you earn your stripes as a match official. These guys getting fast-tracked through and all that with zero experience, I just don't think it works.
You're needing escorted out Russell Barton style. It doesn't sound appealing. Maka says, Reverend Mike,
of course. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head, but we had a good referee in Poole. You might not always have agreed with him, Derek, but at least you trusted them to marshal games and be able to lead Scottish football. And was there mistakes? Yeah, there was mistakes, but
it's not as crazy as this.
See, if you put Hugh Dallas's pool of referees and Hugh Dallas's time in now with the technology and everything else, then we're getting 100% better results than what we're getting right now.
Yeah, totally agree. Right, folks, that will do us there. Big thank you to Stevie and to you all for tuning into the show. It's very much appreciated. I've just seen I Am Sam is donated to the channel. Thank you, Sam. He says, morning, lads. Stevie looking great, mate. So there you go. Nice kind words for your good self there, Stevie. So cheers for the donation, buddy.
Thank you very much.
I will be on with Blair a little bit later just to discuss what Danny Rule had to say in his press conference. So content coming your way a little later on, folks. If I don't speak to you, then enjoy your Wednesday, whatever you are doing, and stay safe if you're heading out there and you're getting involved in fireworks or whatever. So have a good one, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.